Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we're taking a look at the new Dino Escape Roar Attack Ceratosaurus. Roar Attack is just a rebranding of the Roarivores and Sound Strikes of the past. End up finding this figure at Target. It retails for $14.99. And it looks like Target is gearing up for a massive Jurassic World release for August 1st, even though a lot of figures are releasing early. I know the Ford Explorer set and the Scorpius Rex are street dated for August 1st, so definitely be hitting those targets if you want to snag all this new product. So let's just go over the package really quick before we crack this figure open. This is almost like a hybrid style package, and you have the Dino Escape logo down here and the Camp Cretaceous logo. You got Toro the Carnotaurus, Darius. Up here it says 3 levels of sounds, which is a new gimmick for this line, but it comes with a catch, but we'll get into that a little bit later on in the review. And then turn the box over to the back. You can see a nice picture of the Ceratosaurus. On the bottom right here are the other two figures available in the wave, the Baryonyx and Bumpy the Ankylosaurus. And turn the box to the other side, we get a picture of Blue and a couple of the campers from Camp Cretaceous along with the Dino Escape logo. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. All right, let's start with a nice 360-degree view of this new Ceratosaurus. Now, if you've been collecting the line for a year or so, this color scheme should look very familiar to you. That is because this color scheme matches pretty closely to the Ceratosaurus that came out in that Walmart-exclusive Camp Cretaceous 3-pack. It's nice that Mattel re-released this color scheme because that 3-pack was kind of hard for collectors to get their hands on. You know, the highlight of that pack was the Ceratosaurus. No one really cared about another release of Charlie in blue, so it was nice of Mattel to re-release this color scheme into the main line. Now, the biggest difference is this figure is completely a new mold compared to the other few Ceratosaurs that came out over the last couple of years. And the biggest difference is this figure can actually stand. The older mold was notorious for having stability issues, and this one is much more stable. This thing is very solid. You just plop it down, and it's not going to fall over. The biggest difference is the resculpted feet. The feet are larger, the legs are beefier, and it's just a much more better balanced figure than the older one. And I really love the color scheme on here. Just that red, light gray, and black really contrast nicely. Now, this figure does have a new action feature gimmick. Like the old Roarivores, there was a button on its back. You could press it, and you get some electronic sounds and stuff. But they kind of changed it, and I really don't like the new action feature on there. But I'll get into that a little bit later on in the review. All right, let's just do a couple quick measurements. This figure is just about 12.5 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, and just about 4.25 inches tall. So Ceratosaurus in real life was around 23 feet long. That's the largest known estimate. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 122 scale range. So let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with the head sculpt. You know, if you like accurate dinosaurs, this head is really going to piss you off. It's just really odd looking. My light just almost fell down on this poor Ceratosaurus. You know, the fenestra is really oddly placed, and it's just, you know, too bulky and wide to be a Ceratosaurus, but it's a Jurassic Park, Jurassic World style Ceratosaurus, so who cares about accuracy? Everyone just always fights about accuracy in Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, and it really doesn't matter. If you're a dinosaur fan, you know what's accurate and what's not. Who cares what the general public thinks? They, you know, eat Tide Pods, so who cares? Now, the head is cast in bright red plastic, and they have all this black markings on there that contrast nicely with the red. The nose horn is done in an off-white color. You have some really large off-white painted teeth inside the mouth. And open the mouth off. Let's see if my light can get in there. You can see a nicely sculpted light pink tongue. And on the roof of the mouth, you get some nice details on the top. And then turn the figure over to the side. You can see the eye is painted a bright yellow color with a black pupil. They have all that nice bright red and black striping going down to the body to right before where the hips start, and then the red stops just before the tail section. You know, Mattel either paints the thighs or the tails. They never paint both. I really just wish some of that red and black continued onto the tail. I think the tail is very plain looking. And then going down to the front arms, man, this light is going to kill me today. I don't know what's wrong with it. The front arms are nicely sculpted. They have some nice muscle detail on there and some nice fine scale detail. Looking at the hands, they have 4 digits. The hand claws are not painted, which is pretty typical of Mattel. And then going down to the hind legs. Hind legs are nicely sculpted. Lots of beautiful scale detail. Some black markings on the thigh, and then going down to the feet. The feet are oversized compared to the original figure, but when I get the comparisons, I'll show the difference between the two. Same thing, toe claws aren't painted. You have some of that black speckling mixed in with the gray plastic. I'm going to turn the figure over. You can see the speaker holes for the electronic sounds and the screw hole for the battery compartment. And then looking at the top of the figure, this is my biggest issue with the Roar Attack line. I hate the new action feature. I just don't like how it works. It's a slider mechanism. It locks into 3 different positions, and it locks the mouth also in 3 different positions, and I just think it's really, really ugly looking. It's just, breaks up the sculpt of the figure. And yes, I do realize these figures are meant for kids, but the franchise has been around forever, and a lot of adult collectors collect these like me, and I just think it's really, really ugly looking. And I know Mattel needs to reinvent gimmicks each year for their lines. I just, just stay with the button. It didn't bother anybody, and it looked a lot better. And I just really, really don't like that big gap on there. And the worst offender is the Ceratosaurus when that comes out. That looks absolutely atrocious. And the other issue I have with this action feature is, it's Dino Escape. Mattel had to scramble to get Dino Escape going because Dominion got delayed a year. And, they'll probably backed into the corner. That's probably why we're seeing like a lot of repaints in this line. But, they brought back capture gear, and only a very few figures have capture gear right now. Just get rid of the stupid electronics, get rid of this dumb slider button, and just give capture gear with, like, the Roar Attacks and the Savage Strikes instead of the large, Mega Destroyers and the new T-Rex that came out. A lot of people love to see that, so I just really, really don't like this gimmick. I just feel like it's just wasted. It should just went with capture gear. So enough about my ranting. Yes, I know I'm being a man-child about it, but, I'm a reviewer, and this is what I do. So let's turn the figure over, and here is the scan code for those of you that want to scan it into the Fax app, and let's just go down to the tail really quick. You have some, spikes along the top of the body, some osteoderms along the side, some nice sculpted and detailing, going all the way down to the tip of the tail. And like I said, this figure is really solid compared to the stability of the older Ceratosaurus figures. If I plop down one of the older figures, it would just fall right over. But this figure is nice and solid. And let's just go over articulation really quick. The arms can move forwards and backwards. They're on a hinge, which allows the arms to swing out. Back legs can move backwards and forwards about that far. There's a little locking notch in there to lock the legs into a neutral position, and with the hips they can pivot in and out. And a new feature on this, you actually have a ball jointed tail which comes unattached in the packaging. You just have to push that notch in and it'll lock into place. It is a one-time assembly, so once you get in, you ain't getting it out. And like the old Ceratosaurus, the tail used to only just like rotate like 360 degrees, but now you can get upwards, downward, and side to side movement, as well as 360 degrees. Now for the dumb Roar Attack action feature, like I said, you have this slider button right here, and as you slide it forward, there's 3 different locking positions that gives you 3 different roars on this figure. So here's position 1. Mouth just opens up a little bit. Position 2, you get a little bit of a longer roar, and position 3. And you get a really long roar. So you can just pull it back, you hear all that clicking. It's cool, like if you're into photography and posing your figures. The drawback of the old Roarvors was like the mouths won't stay open or closed unless you push the button in. So this is a benefit of this action feature, and I can just push it forward just a little bit, and the mouth will stay open without me pressing the button. But like I said, at what cost? You just have this really ugly, broken up sculpt right here with this big gap. So yeah, really not worth it in my eyes. And unfortunately, because of this new action feature, I really won't be buying a lot of these Roar Attack figures. I only got this Ceratosaurus because I really love this color scheme. I passed on the Baryonyx, which I think it's Limbo, at Target today, and I'm probably going to pass on Bumpy because I just don't like the way that button works. So expect very few reviews of the Roar Attack figures on the channel going forward until this action feature is gone. Alright, moving on to comparisons. Here it is on the human figures. Here it is with Dennis Nedry. And here it is with the Camp Cretaceous 3-pack Ceratosaurus. And you can see both these figures share pretty much the same color scheme. And you can see it is a brand new mold with this new Roar Attack figure. The color scheme is pretty much identical. It's not, picture perfect because it's a different mold. The red on this one is a lot brighter than this one, but I think both these figures look really, really nice next to each other, and you can see the difference, especially with the feet. Let me bring them side by side. You know, the older figure had much smaller, much more proportionate feet, but the cost of that was it really wasn't that stable of a figure. And the other big difference is, you know, the tail on here, it just spins around. That's all it does, and you don't get any upwards, downwards, and side to side movement. So this one is definitely the superior sculpt because of the stability issues, and it just feels like a slightly bulkier figure. You can see the front arms on here a little bit beefier than the ones on here, but it's nice to actually have some mold variation with, you know, the species in this line. So, you know, these look like two different Ceratosaurs instead of just two repainted ones. And one more thing I want to point out on the Ceratosaurus, here is the button on its back. You see it blends in really nicely with the rest of the sculpt. All you need to do is just push it in, and it opens the mouth up. It does, you know, pretty much the same thing this one does, except for that clicking mechanism. I much would have preferred if Mattel just stayed with this action feature. Like I keep saying, really don't like that. And here it is with the other Ceratosaurus. Here is the first release. I have to put that one down really gently because, like I said, these older ones have severe stability issues. And here it is with the Dino Rivals Taco Bell Aftermath color scheme. And you can see, you know, nice difference in colors between them. But I think this one, the new one, and the one from the Camp Cretaceous 3-pack, I think all three of them look fantastic together. They all look like they should belong to a pack, except for this turd colored one. And here it is with the Battle of Big Rock Allosaurus. And you want to talk about stability issues? This thing absolutely sucks standard. Probably the worst stability issue I've seen in the entire line, even worse than the Ceratosaurus. If you just even look at this thing wrong, it just flops over and falls. And here it is with the Stegosaurus. You can see I have a little Morrison formation theme going on here with the comparisons. And here it is with the previously reviewed Dinoscape Carcharodontosaurus. And lastly, here it is with the new Dinoscape Tyrannosaurus Rex. So, final thoughts on this new Roar-Attack Ceratosaurus. I think it's vastly superior to the original Ceratosaurus mold. You know, the main points being this figure is much more stable. It has a slightly better sculpt. I like the proportions a little bit better. You know, the only trade-off is you get slightly larger feet on this newer version, but that helps with the stability. So that's fine, and I absolutely love the color scheme. I think it's the best-looking color scheme. The three versions of the Ceratosaurus that we've gotten, just really love that red, black, and light gray. Just contrast beautifully together. But the biggest negative is, like I say, I don't like the sliding button action feature on these new Roar Attacks. I think it's just ugly, hideous, breaks up the sculpt, and yes, like I keep saying, I know it's meant to be a kid's toy, but I'm an adult collector, so, you know, I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like, so that's that. And hey, if you like the new feature, more power to you. This is just my opinion, and, you know, that's all it is. So yeah, like I said, I probably won't be reviewing a lot of the Roar Attack figures going forward. Just, you know, ones that catch my eye, new species, I'll probably pick up. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to be picking up a lot of them because of that action feature. So that would do it for the review. We all know Target is gearing up for a massive Jurassic World release, so expect a lot of new reviews in the next week or so. I plan on getting the Tyrannosaurus Rex Explorer set, the Stegosaurus Mega Destroyer. I'm trying to think what else. I'll probably pick up one of the Scorpius Rexes. I'm not a huge fan of that design. I'll probably just get the one that comes with Kenji just to get another Gyrosphere. So be on the lookout for those reviews once I track down those figures. And if you're wondering if I'm ever going to do a review of the Amber Collection John Hammond, I found a few of them today, and oh my lord, that paint scheme is absolutely atrocious. I have no idea why Mattel decided to give it such a dark wash. The figure looks like it was dragged through dirt at the factory and then packaged up and shipped to the stores. It's just absolutely horrendous. I saw it in the stores, was going to buy it, was walking down the aisle, and I just looked at it, I'm like, this is terrible. Went back, looked at the other ones, and just put it back. And while standing there, I canceled my Amazon pre-orders. That's how dissatisfied I am with that John Hammond figure. So that's another rant. So a couple rants in this video. Sorry about that. I just had to get all that off my chest. So that's it. You know, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.